It is now time for What's Hot, when we talk about the stories that have us all talking.
And we are joined by Jon Anne Willow from ThirdCoast Digest, plus Jeff Wagner is back. Well, the FBI is launching an investigation into a disturbance on board a JetBlue flight. On Tuesday, a pilot began acting unusually in the cockpit, then stormed through the plane where he was eventually restrained. The airline says he had a panic attack. So what should happen to this pilot? He said he had a panic attack and he had to be taken off the plane.
Well, the thing is that's not actually how panic attacks normally manifest. But what does manifest that way often are brain tumors that were previously undiagnosed, and also there's the possibility of drug abuse. So I think we should wait for the toxicology report and the neurology reports before we go, as a public, before we start passing judgment, because there could be something seriously wrong.
Because he was foaming at the mouth.
Yeah.
They said he was drinking a lot of water right before this happened.
Yeah, I mean, he could have malaria. There could be a lot of things going on.
Well, see, but that ties into what my real question is about this is, were there signs and symptoms that should have been noticed before this particular incident? Do you just wake up one morning, go into work and all of a sudden react in this fashion? Or were there things that were leading up to this, other examples of sort of bizarre, not to this extent, but other sort of bizarre behavior? Because that's what I think the question is. Pilots have to go through physical exams after they're 40 years old. They have to do it every 6 months. I think this guy's 48, actually originally from the Milwaukee area. But what ended up happening, I mean, I'm just wondering, are there other things? Because there's no routine psychological testing required, because that's the scary thing. Could this happen again somewhere?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because he'd been a pilot since '89. He'd been a trainer since 2000, and he's 48 years old, so he might have been having symptoms at home and really trying to hide them from JetBlue. It's not necessarily JetBlue's fault that it went undetected, even if he or someone in his family knew about it.
And here's the lucky thing about this: if you're trying to find a silver lining, he at least left the cockpit. So you had the passengers.
The
that were able to
co-pilot
help
tricked him into it.
That co-pilot's going to be the hero here.
Can you imagine what happens if you're in that little cockpit? Then you start acting
buttons
out like
and,
this.
and levers. I mean, yeah, it could have been bad.
Right. So
really
that's the scary part.
Yeah, it certainly is. Okay, guys, we're going to have to wrap this topic up there. Thanks very much. Well, coming up next, actress Alicia Silverstone is raising eyebrows over the way she's feeding her baby. Check it out. We're going to discuss this next.
Again, we are joined by Jon Anne Willow from ThirdCoast Digest and Jeff Wagner from News Radio 620 WTMJ.
Well, the movie The Hunger Games has broken records with its opening weekend, but some fans are in hot water for racist tweets after seeing the film. They're apparently surprised that a number of the characters are played by black actors, even though the book describes several of them as being dark-skinned. Now, a website has collected and posted a number of the tweets to call out those racist tweeters. So, what do you think about the outcry?
Which outcry? The racist tweets or the reaction to it?
Let's do both.
Well, the internet is nothing if not self-policing or self-promoting or self-aware. So if those tweets go out there, they were obviously going to go wide. Most of the people who tweeted that stuff have either shut down their accounts now or made them private. On a personal note, it's disgusting, really. One of the tweets I read said that they cared about Rue in the book, but when they found out that she was a little black girl in the movie, they just couldn't be as sad when she died. And that's just horrifying. Like, who says that?
Well, let me read a couple of the tweets real quick. One woman tweeted, "I was pumped about the Hunger Games until I learned that a black girl was playing Rue." Somebody else posted, "Awkward moment when Rue is some black girl and not the little blonde innocent girl you picture."
Who's not even blonde in the book. She's a dark-skinned girl with dark hair.
What do you think, Jeff?
Look, the internet is a great thing in many respects, but there's this dark side to the internet, and this is just another example of it. It's this anonymity that allows people to say and do things or represent things that you hope in real life that they'd never do. And anybody who's been a public figure at all, you get crazy emails. I agree with Jon Anne. It's disgusting. There's no other way to describe it.
Yeah, it's pretty shameful.
But that is a really good point too about the internet giving every single person in the universe a megaphone.
Right, and then unfortunately they feel free to use that megaphone, and again you've got that anonymity most times that allows them to hide behind it, and unfortunately it's one of the things that comes with all the great stuff that's out there on the internet.
The death of cultural propriety.
On the same topic of things on the internet that could turn your stomach, here's a warning. This next video is a little gross, so if you want to look away, now's the time to do it. It's actress Alicia Silverstone in the way she feeds her son like a bird. The vegan mother posted this video on her blog. She is chewing food, then feeding her son by spitting it, yes, into his mouth. It is not uncommon for mothers and babies to do this in some parts of the world. But what do we make of this? And I'm not even looking at a monitor right. Jeff, I'm looking at you because you look better than what is on the monitor right now.
Well, thanks, I think.
Do you have a rule for this, Jeff?
Oh, well, it's never occurred to me. I mean, I got to tell you, I mean, I'll defer to the two moms on the panel, but this is disgusting. I'm sorry, it's just absolutely disgusting. I've never heard of it. Can't imagine why you would do something like this.
I think I just threw up a little bit in my mouth just watching this. Listen, I have 2 children that I love very much. Parents will do everything for their kids. We've got to clean their butts. We've got to clean their little snotty nose. I draw the line at this. And actually, it's really not even that good for your kids. It can cause tooth decay. It can pass on a cold. I mean, this just isn't even sanitary.
And when we talk about doing it in other parts of the world, we're talking about parts of the world where we don't have easy access to baby food and things like that, and softening and partially digesting the food before we feed it to our children who are just becoming accustomed to food makes some sense in that context. But we live, but we live in Western society, and Alicia Silverstone lives in Western society. And I actually, this is going to get me in a lot of hot water with some attachment parents, but I wonder if she keeps it up for a long time, if she's not also going to blur some of the boundaries between she and her child, and I worry about that. I mean, I don't judge about the grossness. Everybody does what they do. Everybody has stuff in their house that they don't do out in the light of day, but I worry about those boundaries.
Well, I judge about the grossness, but use a fork and a knife. Okay, you are a human being. You are not a bird.
Okay, well, I'm willing to make a prediction. I understand that celebrities are trendsetters. I am willing to bet that this particular trend does not take off in America.
Jeff Wagner, I hope you are right. We're taking a break now. We will be right back.